Your poor eating habits is actually keeping you poor. The reason for this is because eating habits and eating in general is a very time consuming and intensive process for your body. So when you eat large amounts of food, when you eat very heavy and dense food, your body immediately goes into digestion mode for the next hour or two. And that's what people typically call itis, grogginess, tiredness, whatever it is. So if you start off the day with a big breakfast, which a lot of people do, you've already started the day off in a negative light. If you start off your lunch with a massive lunch, you're going to drag your feet for the rest of the day, trying to keep yourself energized and focused, and your productivity level drops. Now, dinner is debatable depending on what time you have dinner. If you have dinner around 5 to 6 p.m., you can have a relatively big dinner. You don't have anything to focus after work, unless you do. If you do, this might be a problem for you as well. But if you don't, then it's relatively fine, as long as it's a couple hours before bedtime. If you eat a massive dinner right before bedtime, it will actually ruin your sleep. You will be tossing, turning, your body will be busy trying to digest. You won't get the rest that you need. You won't feel re-energized. And in the morning, the other thing is when you sleep and you're digesting food, a lot of the gases come up to your nose and it causes congestion. So in the morning, you might wake up feeling stuffy and congested, even though you weren't out in the cold. So these are just a handful of things that could happen with poor eating habits. And it's not only affecting your health, it's also affecting your career. When your productivity level drops, when you're not as energized, when you're not feeling it and you don't want to talk to people, you don't want to be around people, that is affecting your career. That is affecting your circle. That is affecting your social life. That is affecting a lot more areas than just your health. People often think, oh, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. With poor eating habits, you're not here for a good time as well. You're not going to be here for a long time, that's for sure. You're not here for a good time either. How are you supposed to enjoy while feeling tired, while going through it? Have you never had such a big meal of some food that you really enjoy and then you can't look at that food for the next few days? It's because your body is immediately telling you that's... Oops, my alarm went off. It's because your body is immediately telling you that situation, that food that you ate made you feel like shit. And that's why you feel repulsed when you think of it. Maybe you can't think of that food or that type of food or that genre of food even, right? If you ate a lot of butter chicken, you might be disgusted by Indian food for the next month. If you ate a lot of fried chicken, you might be disgusted by fast food for a long time. So this is literally your body telling you to stop. So if you don't listen to your body, you're not only hurting your body, you're hurting other areas of your life. Now, what entails good eating habits? As much as media and people in general want to tell you that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, there have been tons of studies, there have been tons of nutritionists, there have been tons of bodybuilders, fitness instructors that say that is not the case. There is something called intermittent fasting. There are different types of diets, there are different ways to schedule out your meals throughout the day. And breakfast, if you eat it and you enjoy it, that's fine. If you don't eat it, you don't enjoy it, that's also fine. Do not convince yourself you need to force yourself to eat breakfast. But what you should be doing, if you are consuming breakfast in the morning, is having a very light breakfast. By light, maybe 2 eggs and 1 toast. Even lighter than that is better. Maybe a yogurt. Maybe a cup of coffee and jam and toast. 1. 2 is maybe the extent. But do not have those English breakfasts with sausage, beans, eggs, and like fucking beer. I don't know, like people really eat weird shit in England, especially for breakfast. Like that will actually knock you out. That'll start your day off poorly. Do not go to those breakfast places. Those breakfast places are notorious for having massive breakfast meals, and they immediately take an effect. The moment you eat it, you'll feel like shit after. Like the moment you eat it and you go for the drive, you're like trying to stay focused on the road, right? The fact that you're having to force yourself to stay focused that early in the morning at the start of your day is concerning. And that's not because you have poor sleeping habits. You might have, but poor sleeping habits doesn't necessarily always equate to that level of grogginess. right? Poor sleeping habits typically you see much later in the day, you start feeling more groggy. But the meal has an immediate effect. So have a light breakfast. For lunch, I also recommend having a light lunch. Now, you might be around coworkers, you might be going somewhere special. That might not always be possible. What you should avoid after having a big lunch or after having lunch in general, especially if you're sensitive to caffeine and sensitive to milk, is avoid coffee. Coffee, it will make you feel jittery, but that's not what I'm even going to argue. It'll make your stomach go crazy. Coffee is acidic. Coffee is high caffeinated, and milk, some people are lactose intolerant. A lot of times I see people order a big lunch, eat it, and then they drink coffee, and then now they need to run to the washroom every 2 minutes. And they refuse to admit it's because of coffee. They think, oh, it's that food that I had at lunch, blah, blah, blah. Sure, if you had Mexican food for lunch, then by all means, but coffee will fuck you up. Second thing for lunch is avoid Mexican food. Avoid foods that will cause you to be gassy. Avoid foods that will cause your stomach to rumble. Eat very basic stuff that you know will not mess your stomach up. Because for the next couple of hours, you're going to be dreading your life if you do. You need to be focused. You need to be productive. You need to be energized. Why put yourself through that for an hour of satisfaction? Because that hour of satisfaction will equate to 4 to 5 hours of just, I don't even know the word for it. This is going to be chaotic for you. You're going to feel like shit. So light lunch. If not possible, then have a relatively decent lunch that is easy on your stomach, and avoid coffee and avoid other laxative type drinks or foods that will cause your stomach to go crazy. So for dinner, if you're having dinner early, a lot of cultures have dinner early, then that's fine. You can have a big dinner as long as you don't have anything planned after. If you do have something planned after, you might want to consider having a light dinner and then maybe snack throughout the rest of the day. Or if you're eating a late dinner, then have a very light dinner, because it will affect your sleep. You need to be energized the next day. And people often will eat a heavy dinner, have poor sleep, have a shitty day the next day, and then make up for it by eating a heavy dinner again. People use food as a coping mechanism. People use food to get over their shitty day. So if you are in that negative feedback loop, try to end it today. Try to have lighter meals. Your body you might feel more hungry at the time because it's human nature to be gluttonous. You want to constantly keep eating. So you might think, oh, this won't fill me up. But trust me, it will. That's all psychological. Have a glass of water. Have 2-3 glasses of water while you're eating your meal. You'll be stuffed way quicker than you think. Water fills your stomach up. It simulates the fact that you're full, and it actually gets you out of that mentality that, oh, this won't fill me up. And if you genuinely think this won't fill you up, that's fine. Get a second plate. But first, eat that first plate, drink 2 glasses of water, and if you're still hungry after that, I doubt it, but if you still are, then go for that second plate. But that doesn't necessarily mean you need to fill up your first plate with like massive amounts of food, because then you're telling your brain, I gotta finish all this, and then you're guilt tripping yourself into eating it. You know you're gonna feel like shit after, but you don't want to throw food out, so you guilt trip yourself into eating it. But yeah, this is how you manage your eating habits, not just for your health. I don't even care, honestly. Live a good life but a short life, I don't care. That's fine as long as you're happy. But live a good life, and you cannot live a good life if you're constantly eating like shit. I refuse to believe that. I've never seen anyone ever have a good life while eating like shit. I haven't. Those people are obese. Those people can't even walk 5 minutes without having heavy breath. Those people, when you're talking to them, they're constantly breathing really hard. I don't know, man. I can't. It's completely fine at the end of the day, but I don't really consider that a good life, right? I'm not judging them for them being overweight or obese. I'm judging them because they claim they're wanting a good life, and I don't think that is a good life. Maybe that's my personal opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'm being overly critical or judgmental, but these are just my opinions. If you agree with them, that's fine. If you disagree with them, that's fine. Drop a dislike if you disagree. Drop a like if you agree. If you enjoy the types of topics I cover, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It lets me know that what I'm talking about is actually enjoyable. Other than that, I will see you on the next one. Peace.